awful people watch for moments to manipulate. And it's when you're afraid, it's when you're sad, it's when you're struggling. Simba already had grief, and Scar pushed it into guilt.
And if it weren't for you, he'd still be alive.
When adults tell us things when we're children, and we internalize those messages, we have a hard time challenging them once we're adults.
No one needs me.
Yes, we do. You're the king.
Identity is everything. When people ask me, I don't know who I am, my answer is always, who do you want to be?
Going back means I'll have to face my past.
The past can hurt, but you can either run from it or learn from it.
Tell them who is responsible for Mufasa's death.
And so for Simba, instead of running and hiding, but stepping forward and taking ownership,
I am.
that to me is one of the most powerful moments in the movie, especially in Simba's journey.
Remember.
Because in that moment right there, he is king. And that is such good writing that for once I actually don't have any comments.
Yeah, that's it. Just watch that scene. You're welcome. Hello and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I am Alan Seawright, professional filmmaker who needs therapy. I'm joined by...
Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist who loves cinema films.
Not just regular films, cinema films.
Behold, cinema!
Die Hard! Die Hard? Die Hard! Die Hard! Die Hard! Die Hard! Die Hard!
The cinema movie films. What are we doing today?
We're going to watch a cinema movie film. You're going to react to it. It's The Lion King.
Oh, 94.
94, yeah, no, the real one.
Yes.
Not the fake cartoon, but the real cartoon.
When people
They're
call that
both
one
cartoons.
I know they're like, oh, I like the live action one. I'm like,
Literally not a single live action thing in that.
yeah.
I don't know if there's even any background plates. I think it's all CG.
And it is stunning to look at.
Oh, it's very nice.
But this is the OG, and this
is.
winner and still champion. All right, what are we exploring in Lion King today?
I would love to explore grief and guilt, and in particular, how to navigate that with when you're getting lots of advice and some of it conflicting.
Yeah, because Simba's got all sorts of people telling him what he should and shouldn't do.
Oh
And
boy. Everybody's got a plan for Simba, except Simba.
yeah, all right.
Let's see the plans.
No.
Oh, seriously, we're starting?
Yes. I must break you.
Well, it's his fault for singing that he couldn't just wait to be king.
That's true. If he hadn't sung a song, we wouldn't
He
be
manifested it.
We wouldn't be in this mess. It's the secret.
He happily manifested, I want my turn. I'm actually just cracking wise because if I just sit and watch it.
You're gonna start crying.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing right now?
Oh, gosh. Ah, damn you, Scar.
Such a great menacing shot of him, too.
What have you done?
There were wildebeest and he tried to save me. It was an accident. I didn't mean for it to happen.
Of course you didn't. No one ever means for these things to happen. But the king is dead.
Oh, my gosh.
And if it weren't for you, he'd still be alive.
Why does stuff involving kids hit me harder
What will your mother think?
now than when I was a kid?
Because you're a
What am I
parent
gonna
now.
do?
Run away, Simba.
When you're a kid, you want to be a grown-up.
Run away and never return.
But I saw this at 13. I was 13 when it came out. And I guess I wasn't a little kid, so I was old enough to... But I was like, well, yeah, Scar's a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Simba already had grief,
Yeah,
and Scar pushed it into guilt.
right.
Which is a statement of awful people watch for moments to manipulate. And it's when you're afraid, it's when you're sad, it's when you're struggling that they swoop in and do their worst. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's to offer words of comfort to position themselves as the source of comfort and the source of strength so they can start manipulating. And other times it's to get you to take the blame for things that aren't yours.
Yeah, they're not interested in you, they're interested in their own ends. That
Yeah.
is definitely a thing that happens.
So if we're rating advice that Simba gets, the worst...
This is not good.
This is, yeah. And I'm thinking through the rest of the film, I don't think anyone is worse than this. So we are, that slot's already filled.
Yeah, okay.
This
Well,
is
good to get that out of the way. It's only uphill from here.
This is your fault. Run away and never come back. And then he sends the hyenas to kill him.
That's not good uncling. If you are an uncle, don't model your behavior on Scar.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Simba had a lot of people, animals giving him advice, but none of them were licensed therapists.
And he could have used a therapist to help him deal with his grief and guilt.
Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this video.
BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online.
With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues.
To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy.
That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network.
Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether that's text, chat, phone, or video call.
You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you.
And if your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge.
With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality that you expect from in-office therapy.
But with a therapist who's custom picked for you.
More scheduling flexibility.
And at a more affordable price.
Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/cinematherapy. That's better HELP. And we've also linked to them in the description.
Or scan the QR code.
You got something on your...
What?
Look at... Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Bad things happen, and you can't do anything about it, right?
Right.
Wrong!
Ah, Nathan
when
Lane.
the world turns its back on you...
You treasure.
You turn your back on the world.
Well, that's not what I was taught.
Then maybe you need a new lesson. Repeat after me. Hakuna Matata.
What?
Hakuna Matata. It means no worries.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful
So just
phrase.
let stuff go and live in the moment.
Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze.
It means no worries.
It's halfway good advice.
It's our problem free.
Because you shouldn't worry about things... Like, if it's a thing that you can't affect,
Yeah,
spending a lot of energy and emotion on it is not useful, right?
yeah. And worrying doesn't... Oh, classic dad joke.
These 2 words will solve all your...
Thing our channel is built on.
That and your tears.
Bad jokes and my tears. Oh boy. That's a shaky foundation.
But yeah, obviously, like, if it's something that you chose, that you can control, that you can make right, then Hakuna Matata is terrible advice.
Yeah.
Like, get off your butt and fix things.
Yeah, do something.
And take responsibility, but when it's and Simba doesn't think there's anything he can do. So that's why he listens to this advice. He's like, my dad's dead. I just talked right over the fart part. Sorry, guys.
It is literally the best part of this Oscar-winning film.
Not in front of the kids.
Oh, sorry.
But on the flip side, once you've done everything you can, yeah, this is great advice.
Sure. And it is catchy as hell.
It is. Sing it. I love these slides on his knees.
I always forget the fart right there.
But it's a
Gets me
musical
every
fart.
time.
But it's a musical fart.
I mean,
it's like a trombone or something.
It is.
Bro.
It's yep.
It's a tuba, actually.
I think it's a tuba, and thank you. Thank you if that was Hans Zimmer or whoever was doing that bit of the music. Thank you for farting.
So here's what I don't get. When Frozen comes out, there's certain parent watchdog groups who are up in arms about the song Let It Go. That it was teaching children a terrible lesson. No right, no wrong, no rules for me.
Yeah.
I'm free, right?
Uh-huh.
And to live a life devoid of moral responsibility. And people really got into this. There were blog posts and YouTube videos and all sorts of stuff. And it's probably just because there weren't blogs and YouTube back in '94. Because don't take responsibility for anything and just live a carefree life.
Yeah, these are not the end of the story for either of these movies.
Exactly, and that's what drives me nuts, is I'm like, well, but that's not the lesson of the movie. The lesson of the movie is this philosophy got me through for a while, and then I had to leave it behind.
And grow and learn and become an adult. Like,
Yeah. Well, and that happens with philosophies. They're like canoes that get you across the river, right? At a certain point, like you bring them to the bank on the other side, and you're grateful for them.
I just want a t-shirt that says philosophy and it's on a canoe.
Just so people will come up and ask you?
Just, what the hell is that? It's like, oh, it's a philosophy canoe. It's getting me across a river.
In a van down by the river.
But then it gets you there, and then it's like, I'm grateful for it. I don't hate it. It served me, but it doesn't serve me anymore.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And I think for both Elsa and for Simba, these different musical numbers taught them a philosophy that is not where they land, but it definitely took them a step out of where they were, which needed to happen.
Which absolutely needed to happen.
But as far as his healing goes, this is a good step in the right direction, but it needs to have what comes next.
Yeah. This is a very good film.
Yes.
I recommend it. I recommend getting some cheddar cheese popcorn to eat while you watch it. You can buy it in our store down there. You can make that noise while you eat it.
We've really needed you at home.
No one needs me.
Yes, we do. You're the king.
Nala, we've been through this. I'm not the king. Scar is.
Simba, he let the hyenas take over the Pride Lands.
What?
Everything's destroyed. There's no food, no water. Simba, if you don't do something soon, everyone will starve.
I can't go back.
Why?
You wouldn't understand.
What wouldn't I understand?
No. It doesn't matter. Hakuna matata.
What?
Hakuna matata. It's something I learned out here. Look, sometimes bad things happen.
Simba.
And there's nothing you can do about it. So why worry?
Because it's your responsibility.
Well, what about you? You left?
I left to find help. And I found you. Don't you understand? You're our only hope.
Help me, Obi-Wan.
What's happened to you? You're not the Simba I remember.
You're right. I'm not. Now are you satisfied?
No, just disappointed.
You know, you're starting to sound like my father.
Good. At least one of us does.
Listen, you think you can just show
So
up
she's
and
very
tell me
pointed.
how to live my life? You don't even know what I've been through.
I would if you just tell me.
Forget it.
Fine.
Nala's right on every point.
Yeah.
The thing about communication is it's all about packaging.
Uh-huh.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are times when you can say pointed things in kind of a sarcastic manner.
Mm-hmm. And it can be effective.
It could be effective because she definitely gets him thinking.
Yeah.
If this were counseling, in the moment I'd be like, hey, Nala, I think you're heading in a really positive direction in a really negative way.
Oh, okay.
You are using sarcasm and jabs, good, at least one of us is, and contempt and condescension. And what that's going to lead to is your message is getting lost in the packaging.
Yep.
What she said gets him thinking and shakes him loose, but she could have said it in a more constructive way, you know, which could have been a million ways, but I would start with her. Simba, you and I aren't seeing eye to eye right now. Tell me what you've been through, and tell me how you've arrived here.
How has it been eating grubs for the last 10 years, however long?
Well, he says you wouldn't understand, and she says you would if you just tell me. But the thing is, the reason he's not, well, he's got a lot of shame and he's afraid of what she'll think. But she's definitely pushed him further into that.
Well, she's shutting him down every time he's trying to, yeah.
So Simba's like, I can't open up to this person. This isn't safe for me. And so it's important to recognize, because we get into conflict when we get to arguments, and we think this should be going better because what I'm saying is right.
Right.
And this is an issue I see in a lot of public discourse as well as just in relationships, is that the message gets lost in the packaging and people shut down and don't listen.
Right.
And she needed to start with, okay, Simba, I know where I'm coming from. Tell me what's been going on for you. And to help him to feel that she's not going to shut him down.
Mm-hmm. She's wrong. I can't go back. What would it prove anyway? Won't change anything.
Trying to convince himself because he
I can't
knows.
change the past. You said you'd always be there for me. But you're not.
So that could be hacky, but it's so well written in
because
this
of
script.
me.
And it's well performed by Matthew
my
Broderick,
fault.
and the animators did a great job.
It's my fault.
This sort of dialogue with himself, that's a tough thing to pull off anytime. And when you don't get to do this,
Yeah.
it's a tough ask for an actor. It's a tough ask for a filmmaker. How do I stage this to make it not feel just hacky and blech?
Yeah.
It helps that, the writing was solid. The performance is really good, and these animators did a great job of keeping it simple and as close up as you can get animated. But it's tough to pull that off when you don't have this.
Yeah.
To rely
I mean, you
on.
could do this animated, but they wanted him pacing.
Well, and even when you do this animated, that lion's face is 9 lines on a, orange background. Like, it's not the same as, like, looking a human in the eyes.
Yeah.
You're not going to react the same way as a person.
What this scene makes me think of is when adults tell us things when we're children, and we internalize those messages, and we have a hard time challenging them once we're adults.
Yeah.
Sometimes we become adults and we can then challenge other messages we're getting from other adults, but for some reason, whatever we got as kids gets like written deep into our identity DNA, right? Yep. Of who we see ourselves as. I've had people in therapy who told me that as children, their dad would tell them how horrible they were and what a disappointment they were, and they really believe that about themselves. And I always ask the same question. I'd be like, okay, tell me about your dad. And inevitably, on some level or another, he was a miserable person.
Right.
A miserable, bitter person. Because people who talk to kids that way and then don't apologize and don't say that was wrong of me and I don't feel that way. Because look, I'm gonna level with you. Almost any parent has said things to their kids that they wish they could take back.
Yep.
In a moment of anger or frustration. It's the ones who just let it hang there and don't do anything.
They never go in and recover, right?
Yeah. But I always say, so is your dad a reliable character witness? Would you say he's a good judge of character?
Oh, no, he's a miserable old crank, and he's never been happy a day in his life. Also, he's been defrauded multiple times because he trusts idiots. Oh, wait! Maybe... Hang on!
Maybe how he sees me, I shouldn't buy into that.
Yeah.
Right? But Simba, he still carries with him what Scar said to him.
Right.
And I don't think he really internalized as a kid how awful Scar is. So to hear from Nala what Scar is letting happen also frees him up to start questioning what Scar told him. Because maybe Scar's not the great uncle after all.
That's not my father. It's just my reflection.
No. Look hard.
This movie's so iconic. Every scene.
You see, he lives in you.
Father?
This is such a powerful moment, and I can't see it without seeing the Simpsons bit, where it's all the different James Earl Jones voiceover characters.
How could I?
You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life.
How can I go back? I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are. You are my son, and the one true king. Remember who you are.
No! Please! Don't leave me!
Definitely not the thing I say to my kid every time he goes to hang out with friends.
So we're getting better.
Yep.
I just realized this movie, if we're ranking it in terms of worst advice to best advice, it literally
It's pretty much just in order.
It's just chronologically, yeah. And Mufasa, remember who you are. Identity is everything. And a lot of people see it as something divine, right? That there's something divine, spark of the divine in us.
True.
When people ask me, I don't know who I am, my answer is always, who do you want to be?
Yeah.
Right? Because people think it's in here and I have to strip away the excess and find it. And that's one analogy, and I don't think it's invalid, but there's also what you create. Mm-hmm. And I think if you want to say who you are is inside you, okay, well, what are your desires? What do you desire to do? And then go and manifest that, create that, Can we talk about why this scene makes everybody cry?
Yeah, this scene makes everybody cry because of 2 words. They're real easy. Hans Zimmer. Mm-hmm. That's it. Hans Zimmer. There's a reason that after this, he hasn't stopped working for one day since 1994. Obviously, the voice performances are good. The writing is good. The animation is beautiful, like the sunrisey stuff behind the clouds. It's all very calculated to make the weepies happen. Mm-hmm. And that's all great. But just listen to that piece of music from Hans Zimmer and you'll probably start crying.
Yeah.
Without any of the rest of it.
Well, thematically for Simba in his journey right now, early on, I just can't wait to be king. And now I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm a failure, because of my guilt, because of my shame. Honestly, this reminds me a lot of Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi.
For sure, yeah.
You know, that he feels like he failed. He feels all this guilt, all this shame. Doesn't feel like he's meant to be this great legend. And he's just gone and hidden off somewhere. And this whole remember who you are thing, I think every single one of us has within us what I call the highest self. In our trauma program that we do at Mended Light, it's all about tapping into your highest self. You know, whatever other higher power you have, communicating and being in touch with, well, who do I want to be? And is this decision I'm making right now in alignment with that version of me?
Yeah.
Right? And Mufasa, by challenging Simba to rise up, is challenging him not to just be like me, but to be the best version of Simba.
Yeah, be the best Simba. Don't be Mufasa.
And slurping grubs and having farting contests.
Probably not it.
But you know what's great is it's kind of like Simba's college days, right? He got it out of his system.
Hey, listen. That's your highest self for one really great weekend. Okay? Everybody should have that weekend.
Folks, did you know that on our Patreon, you can see these episodes before they drop on YouTube? Longer, commercial-free, extended director's cuts? Go to our Patreon, patreon.com/cinematherapy, and check out we have actually a ton of bonus exclusive content for you there. So,
it's great.
Yeah. But if my thesis is true, that we're going from worst to best chronologically, I think it's telling that Mufasa is only the second best.
Oh.
And that the actual best advice Simba gets is from...
What was that? The weather. Very peculiar, don't you think?
Yeah. Looks like the winds are changing.
Change is good.
Yeah, but it's not easy. I know what I have to do, but going back means I'll have to face my past. I've been running from it for so long. Ow! Jeez, what was that for?
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Yeah, but it still hurts.
Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Ah! You see? So what are you going to do?
First, I'm gonna take your stick.
No. Not a stick. Hey! Where are you
That
going?
teaching moment would have really been undermined if Simba had failed to duck the second time. You can learn from it.
Maybe you can't learn from it.
And that is such good writing that for once I actually don't have any comments.
Yeah, that's it. Just watch that scene. You're welcome.
I will say that's the best piece of advice in the movie. Concise and direct and memorable. The past can hurt, but you can either run from it or learn from it.
Yep.
I'd hate to be responsible for the death
And then
of a
let's
family member.
see how
Simba?
Simba has
It's
learned
not
and
gonna
grown.
work, Scar. I've put it behind me.
But what about your faithful subjects? Have they put it behind them?
Simba, what is he talking about?
Ah, so you haven't told them your little secret. Well, Simba, now's your chance to tell them. Tell them who is responsible for Mufasa's death.
I love that Scar is literally a green-eyed monster. Like he's jealous.
And even though this is not true, Simba doesn't know.
He doesn't know that it's not true.
And that's the difference between honesty and truth,
He admits.
or truth and fact.
No, it was an accident.
If it weren't for you, Mufasa
Is that
would still be
factually,
alive. It's your fault.
It's not
he's dead.
Simba's fault.
Right.
But in terms of what he knows, he steps forward and he takes ownership.
I'm not a murderer.
And I can't imagine the amount of courage it would take to say to your mom and to your bestie,
And now
it's my fault.
everyone knows why.
Simba!
always a flaming briar patch with Disney.
This looks familiar.
Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Where have I seen this before? Let me think. Oh, yes, I remember. This is just the way your father looked before he died. And here's my little secret. I killed Mufasa.
Murderer!
No, Simba, please.
Tell them the truth.
Truth, but truth is in the eye of the beholder.
Come on, Jeremy Irons.
Right. I did it.
So they can hear you.
I killed Mufasa.
Oh, it's on now.
He's learned, he's grown, he's not being paralyzed by his guilt, right?
Yeah, well, and so it makes me think of what I was commenting on earlier. There have been times when my kids ask me a question, I give an answer, and it turns out I was wrong.
Uh-huh.
And Benson in particular will go, Dad, you lied.
Liar!
Yeah.
You're a liar.
That's not what that is. Being wrong is not the same thing as lying.
Right.
I thought I was right, and so I told you an answer that was factually incorrect. And it's important in relationships to have grace for people being wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
And a good way to get that grace is to own when you're wrong, which is hard for a lot of people to do.
And, okay, explain this to me.
Okay.
I understand intellectually that it is hard for people to admit being wrong. Why?
It's something that Alicia, my wife, she calls worth ties. You know, what we tie our worth to.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a big fear of not knowing what you're supposed to know. In my experience, most people, not everybody, there are some people who have to project that they know everything about every subject.
Sure.
And those people don't get invited back to my house for dinner. We tie our worth to, especially if it's your area of expertise, right? Or something that you should know better, things like that. We're afraid of looking foolish.
Yeah.
What's hugely ironic is that everybody's learning. Even in whatever you're an expert at.
Oh, totally, yeah.
You're always learning. And going back to Last Jedi, when Yoda says to Luke, the greatest teacher failure is, we should welcome the fact that we fail because we're in good company with billions of other people.
Yeah.
But we're scared. And part of it is also because there are those who will judge, who will shame, who will laugh, who will be jerks about your failings to make themselves feel better.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah.
And just block those comments. They don't matter.
But I just realized how powerful it is to me when Scar says, tell them who's responsible for Scar's death. And Simba takes a step forward.
Yeah, not a step back, not a shrug, not a anything. Yeah.
And doesn't look down and doesn't look away. He looks forward and he says, I am. That to me is one of the most low-key, underrated, powerful moments in the movie, especially in Simba's journey. Because in that moment right there, he is king.
Yeah.
Because like his father, like if you think of how Mufasa was a king, all roads lead to Mufasa. He's ultimately responsible for the management of the kingdom.
That's right.
And so for Simba, instead of running and hiding, or even speaking the truth with shame, but stepping forward and taking ownership, to me, it's not later when he climbs the rock with the music and roars. That's just the moment that everyone sees it happen.
Yeah.
Like he's officially assuming the mantle. But in terms of his character, the moment he becomes king is right there.
There you go.
So until next time,
what's a motto?
Nothing. What's a motto with you? And
watch movies. Thank you to all our patrons for bringing us this episode and supporting us in general, but especially
Melissa Miller, Daniel, David W., also known as D20 Dave.
I see you, gamer.
Tara the Lioness, and Nota Hunter, or Nota Hunter.
It's someone who hunts notas.
But thank you for supporting our channel.